No, that doesn't happen in Teslas because it's automatic.
No, come on, man. This is America.
Get the fuck out of here.
Emotional reactions to things.
Emotion said AI has no agency. That's why I'm not afraid of it.
Right. Boston Dynamics been doing robots for 25 years. Their robots are still better. So here's the problem with Tesla stock.
Alright, welcome to Culture Nexus. I'm Quincy.
Josh.
I'm Chris.
Yes. You see, this week we have two special guests.
Yeah, been unexpectedly to my left here. A good friend from the tech college me and Quasi went to. His name's Chris.
I was threatened. Send help.
Twice. And then we also have Mina, who's been my friend for a very long time. I think going on like 15 years since high school. Want to tell people
Hi.
There's no people that are not watching us.
Yes. All three of them that are me clicking the video 3 times.
Jesus.
Start getting body counts. It's all downhill from there.
I have a body count of 0, guys. Yeah.
After what we were talking about in the previous, that is definitely a lie.
Right?
What are you?
This boy said he had a body count of 0.
Well, I mean, technically, I'm still the only one here, I guess.
Yeah. And I guess this week we don't really have like a specific topic for you guys. We're just kind of like,
Yeah,
hanging
nah.
out.
Try and stay not as elevated, just kind of just like.
Extra elevated. What are you talking about?
Well, of course, extra elevated. See, it's already kicking in.
That.
Just trying to get a little bit not so sensitive censor with that, but whatever. But yeah, though. With you though, it's been like I want to say a good year or something since I last actually seen you.
A whole year. Didn't I see you somewhere in the summer last year? It's not summer yet.
Nah, but I think probably that's when I was kind of I guess I was going through one job or the next.
Yeah, you've been bouncing around jobs.
Oh no, for sure. But now I'm kind.
This market is hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, getting harder.
Yeah, at this point I got to get 2 now.
Everybody's chips come from not here.
I'm at this point. I'm like, I need 3. I need 3 just to get by. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Could have been prevented.
in what way?
Life would have been so much cheaper.
I always think about this. We go about the problem by like saying, "Oh, we need more money," but in reality, we just need easier access to resources.
Right?
Like, it's not necessarily that
Food,
we
water,
need,
and medicine,
the
housing shouldn't
minimum
cost
exchange.
money.
We need the actual product, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's true. Like, I don't know if you guys heard about that mom, like, that was basically living in the car with her children, and, like, 2 of them died.
She's not the only one.
Whoa.
Like, and she kept reaching out to the city, like, over and over, like, at least 3 times she reached out to them for, like, a shelter. And she told them, like, yeah, like, I'm homeless, I'm with these kids, and they just kept telling her there was, like, no availability. And then, like, she slept through the winter, because I think the kids died, like, in January. So
That's
she
insane.
did, like, October, November, December, like, all in the car. And then one night, they just, like, 2 of them just didn't wake up. It was, like, 4 children.
yeah, so
Yeah.
That's
And then, like, after that happened, they gave her a house. I'm like, where was that house before the children died?
It's probably because the story went public, right?
Yeah, that's definitely because.
That's how it always goes, though. It's always after the fact.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
she was
'cause
talking
what
the
about-
whole time
Yeah,
during, but they
she
couldn't
kept
help her
reaching
then.
out. Yeah, nobody ever called her back. Nobody ever said
And then it
something
became
came
national
up.
news because it was a tragedy, and
Yeah.
now they can help.
Yeah,
it's
Really?
Yeah.
it's sad.
This market's dumb.
yeah, no.
Why do houses cost money anyway? Aren't we supposed to be like the richest country in the world or some shit?
We literally are.
Couldn't we show off?
I wish.
Couldn't we show off?
I would love to have that kind of
Free
status.
food, free housing, free water. Like, couldn't we show off a little bit in that kind of way?
Wouldn't that
Like, we're so rich, we don't even charge for these things.
Well,
There's a version of that in Europe. I'm sorry, go.
now I see they're starting to
Man.
like charge or fine
hearing
rather.
that.
They're starting to fine the homeless now
Find the homeless.
in several
Oh, they ain't
cities.
just starting to. That's been
in
around.
several cities, like they're just like finding them.
You know what
Let
I
me tell
find
you the story of Boca
ridiculous?
Raton.
Real quick. You know what I find ridiculous? Like an overdraft fee. I already got overdrafted
Yes.
because I don't have any fucking
being
money.
charged.
And you think you're gonna add $34 more?
Oh,
what
yeah.
the fuck?
That's a whole article and a half. They
Oh.
I
talk
didn't
about that.
have $5, but you're adding 35 more.
Finance researchers talk about that, how overdraft fees are bullshit. Because essentially, these banks have made $5.6 billion in overdraft fees, which means they've stolen $5.6 billion from people that didn't have any money.
Yeah.
Any.
Like literally insane.
Not to mention,
They're literally scraping from the poorest people in the country.
yeah. Not to mention, your money's never in the bank.
Oh, yeah,
Like
no.
if you try to go get like $5,000, they don't have it.
No.
Yeah.
You gotta call and order it.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
That's because the bank is playing with your money.
Yeah, that's
So they
Yes.
keep track of the number that you're putting and taking out of it.
yep.
Meanwhile, all the money that's actually in it, they're using it on stock
Make
shit.
more. Yep.
Yeah.
They're buying bonds and shit and making trades and CDs and time-based kind of deals where they make more money just for having the money.
Options.
And shit that we should be getting paid for. We should be making interest on that. They only give us like a 0.04%.
Well, there
Yeah,
are
that's
some
true.
high yield interest.
There are high yield
Yeah,
savings
there are
accounts,
4%, 5%.
but- Yeah, I was gonna say that.
And some of them are high risk too.
See, I don't even do high yield savings accounts. I literally just put all my money in the stock market. I think of it as my savings account because I
Yeah.
go with companies that I know are going to be here for the next 10 years, 15 years.
I've just
Apple's
started
not
playing.
going anywhere. Okay,
Yeah.
guys. Like,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this whole tariff thing has given us an opportunity with everything dropping.
yeah.
Everything.
I went in. Oh my gosh.
I haven't
I bought so much. When Trump dropped the tariffs that day and everything plummeted.
Bro, that whole
Plummeted?
week, every day was worse.
Oh my gosh. I bought so much. And I'm already up.
And I should have.
I'm already up.
I've been losing
Jesus,
money on
okay.
everything. I only just started in January.
Mm.
And I've put about almost $600 in, and it's just, I've lost like $80 already, and it hasn't come back yet.
Well, it's because you put in January.
And I put a lot in tech. And tech is too volatile.
I do
But I
Taiwan
know tech.
Semiconductors, and like I've got Netflix and obviously Apple.
And I've got Enovix and, what's the Chinese,
You,
not Betavolt, but there's another one called Buddy.
I don't know that one.
It's like BVD or something. And
This is not financial advice.
yeah, don't listen to us. We don't know what we're talking about.
Oh, shit.
No, I try to take in all I can because I want to.
I mean, who
That's-
listens to advice anyway? The whole market's vibes based. You know that, right?
Basically, it's all human.
See,
psychology.
I don't. This
No,
is
it really
I'm
is.
literally like a novice
None
right
of
now.
it's real.
All right, the stock market is vibes based. So everything you think you know is actually worthless. Because basically, the reason that you see the stock go up and down so dramatically recently is because everybody's watching the same news. Everybody's getting the same information about what's happening in the real world. Which is to say, Trump said there's tariffs of like 1,000-something% on China, and everybody lost their fucking minds and sold everything. So the
Yes.
prices for everything dropped way down
Yup.
because
Yup.
everybody had a knee-jerk reaction. It's all vibes based.
They're all scared.
They all hear the same shit, and they all make more or less the same decisions around the same time. So you see big patterns, but it's all vibe based. It's all whatever you hear on the news is going to drive whatever happens in the market. If you
Basically,
hear
do the
that,
opposite of what you hear in the news.
if you hear a bridge
Yeah,
collapse
okay.
somewhere, you can expect that the company that built that bridge is going to lose some stock. You can go ahead and buy some of them
Yeah.
now, because you know what? They're going to bounce right back anyway.
Yeah.
Know why?
Yeah.
Because there's not a whole lot of infrastructure people in the sector in this country.
When Elon
Okay.
Musk smoked weed on the Joe Rogan podcast,
Oh my
and the Tesla stock
Elon
dropped.
Musk is a fucking retard.
We're not going to talk all in about that, but I still use X. And Grok is
You
pretty
can
good.
put it
I'm
down
not gonna
on
lie to
record.
you.
I
like
said.
it. But yeah, no. When he smoked weed on the Joe Rogan podcast and the stock dropped, oh my gosh, that was the perfect time to get in, Because Tesla always bounces. Even right now, with all the fuckery happening with Tesla and stuff, it's still a good time to buy. Because I know in the next 5 years, it's gonna go right back up. He's too deeply implanted in like the EV market and all this like front of line technology stuff.
See, that's
gonna
the problem
get back up to it.
with people believing in Tesla stock.
Not specifically just Tesla. Dude,
You think that he's invested
have you
in
seen
Tesla.
the robots they're doing? I forgot
Never
the name of
mind the
them.
fucking robots.
Yeah,
Everybody's got
I've
robots.
seen Kim
Boston
Kardashian
Dynamic's been
with the
doing robots for
robot.
25 years. And their robots are still better. So here's the problem with Tesla stock. You think Elon's invested, that he gives a shit about his own company. He
got,
has
like,
proven to us over and over that he in fact does not give two shits about his Tesla company. Half of his ideas are half-baked and don't pan out because he didn't think them through. He got rocket advice from an interviewer for some local news station. They asked him, if you took this new design that you did for the primary rocket and applied it to the secondary boosters, do you think that would improve your thrust efficiency? And on camera, we can see the process going through Elon's head. Chunk. Oh. Chunk. That actually sounds like a good idea. Chunk. Yeah, maybe I should do that. Chunk. Wonder why I didn't think of that earlier. Chunk. Man, I just had the greatest idea. You can watch the gears clunking through his dumbass head while he comes up with some new genius idea. And it's just tech bros all over again. They concentrated all the tech bro energy into one man.
They did, but
Tech bro energy revolves around reinventing the wheel.
branching into like his political endeavors. The way that you were thinking about watching him and like knowing that he's sitting there processing when he did the
That's the thing. I
my
watch
heart
him
to
be
you
stupid and
when he did that.
Oh God.
Yeah, when he did that, you could literally see on his face he was like, "Oh shit, did I just do it again? Double down, double down." And make sure you let them know that it's not what they think it is, but I know it looks like what they think.
setting all the social stupidity aside. Elon Musk's real-life technologies and now his political influence are having a real-world effect.
They are.
Every time he opens his big dumbass mouth, people are listening to him because they think he's smart. Because he's smart enough to know how to turn on a rocket. Here's the thing. Rockets run on kerosene. Kerosene's been around forever. We know how kerosene works. You light it on fire.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the more advanced NASA rockets that are meant to go way the fuck out to visit, like Mars, that's pretty far away,
It's quite
they will
spicy.
use a more concentrated oxygen mix. Oxygen and hydrogen together will burn and make a nice, strong thrust.
Sure.
You won't use them for a moon launch. That's too much. So for the most part, a lot of our rockets that are just trying to get something into orbit are using kerosene. It's a simple tool. All the tricks come into where the tech bro shit starts getting in the way. They want the tech bro shit to control it all. Meanwhile, I think her name was Margaret Smith, hand wrote all the code that launched the Apollo pod.
Right.
And like, it's a bunch of floor-to-ceiling stacks of code that she wrote by hand in books for a little computer that could barely operate a calculator.
Man. Could you
We
imagine?
got somebody on the moon running on that. Largely because all it takes to navigate through space is getting your fins right on exit from atmosphere and making sure you have boosters running when you need them through the trip. Because you will run out of energy as you run into solar clouds and radioactive energies.
What the fuck is that?
It's
There's
a
a large bug
beetle.
in this place. I don't know what that is.
It's just a beetle.
Oh.
What I'm trying to say is that rocket science is a joke. It's been around long enough that we understand all the fundamentals well enough that there isn't much else to do with rocket science. You're largely just turning on a big-ass firecracker and shaping it the right way to go in the direction you want, which is usually just up.
That would be the way to get to where you're going.
Right? And then there's a lot of complicated math involved with trying to understand how gravity will affect an object leaving the Earth's orbit and trying to escape into further outer space,
Yes.
outside of our orbit, past the moon. All that math becomes important because you need to know when and at what angle to launch out of the planet so that you can swing around, borrow some gravity coming the other way, and then
Also be
swing
able to
further.
adjust while you're out there.
And there are some adjustments, but the astronauts are really just there for the ride.
Yeah, more or less.
They're just kind of head between the knees and hanging on.
You escape and then you like aim it and then like you just kind of hang on until you.
And
get
that's the beauty of
close.
rockets.
Really?
And missiles. They're very simple, very easy to work with. Aerodynamics makes things even easier to control if you have fins. In space, that becomes a lot less useful to you. So it becomes more about thrusters and making sure you have enough fuel. And our fuel is like the biggest issue. Elon Musk could revolutionize the rocket industry if he could just make a fuel that was more efficient. Because as it is, for every 1 pound of something you need to put on a rocket, you also need 1 pound extra of fuel. Which gets real heavy really fast. The rocket's already pretty heavy.
I can't say that I've gone this in depth with the rocket science aspect. I'm not like too invested in the SpaceX, to be honest with you.
And you shouldn't be. SpaceX is dumb.
How do you feel about Neuralink? This is very like
I feel like-
but within the Elon Musk scope of businesses.
I think Neuralink is awesome, and I personally just wish it wasn't Elon Musk, but there's no particular reason it shouldn't be.
I don't think his hands are like too deep in it, to be honest. It's
think-
mostly run by the engineers.
I think he's got the right people working on it, and they have had enough success that I think they're in the right direction. There's a guy who was like a quadriplegic paralyzed,
I've seen, yeah.
and he fucking loves it. He can use that chip to do a lot of things, and it's been working out well for him. The thing even like is 70% dead in his brain. It doesn't even
I
work.
was literally about to say that, like, a lot of the pins
A lot of
like,
the
they stopped
filaments
working.
fell
Yes.
out.
But
And,
like the ones that stayed
are
working,
still
he's
working
still good.
phenomenally.
Yes.
And he still has a lot of the functionality of the device, even after losing like 75% of it, which is awesome. Yeah. We got around you. So, yeah, I think Neuralink's awesome. Sign me up for the brain chips. I want to plug my head into the internet.
I'm gonna go with you. I don't want the brain chip. I don't want
I
the
do.
brain chip. I do want.
I'm a little
the
scared
robot
of the
arms.
surgery, but I want the brain chip.
Maybe when I hit like 60 or something, and I'm like, let's just see what it's about. You know?
That's a great age, man. That's
Robot
like
R's.
a lot of stuff's about to start failing. Nobody really wants to live past 60 anyway. Like that's the best time to start replacing important
Just
parts.
start.
That's like
I want the robot arms. I want the robot legs. I want all of that except maybe my dick and my brain.
I have
was saying.
that's,
That's
no. I
pretty much all I
mean,
want to keep.
kind of depends. If I can still feel the whole thing,
No, it's
I
got.
don't
It's
think
gotta
it-
be
well-
what I was naturally born with.
honestly, what I would really like is the ability to change it like within 10 minutes or less,
Now that would be
like
be
at
useful.
will. If we had that kind of technology, like give me the
No,
shot
it's-
that will change me for a day.
Give me the shot.
The shot? No, I don't know about that, but
Anyway, like I was saying, those are the only two parts of my body that I
Make it like
probably would
Bioshock.
like to change with something that could
Okay.
be potentially
Video game.
better.
I heard
than
of it.
artificial. You know,
He's heard of Bioshock.
yeah, now I play it.
Bioshock, you never played it?
I've heard of Bioshock. I've
Heard
never
of it.
played it. No.
Never played it. Damn. Alright, you have
Well,
it.
I'm not really a gamer, dude.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
I used to be, so I technically have an excuse, but it's just I'm not.
Alright,
I'm
well,
not that vested
Bioshock's been
anymore.
around a long ass time and it runs on a potato, so you should be able to get a working copy of it somehow, somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And you absolutely should.
Like the fucking Sega Genesis type shit.
Oh
Or
no, not that.
not that old.
That's like
PS2.
no, it's
PS2.
Xbox 360.
No.
Yeah, no PS3.
I was gonna say, yeah, I
Probably
think it's from
PS3.
PS3.
You should totally get Bioshock 1 and Bioshock 2.
Isn't there? What was it? What was the other one?
There's a third one. We don't really talk about that one,
Oh, okay.
largely because it's so much of a departure from the original two and so much of a mind bend that it's. I think the people who made the game don't fully understand it either.
Okay.
I can't speak on this because I don't know the story and I don't really know anything too much about it.
Basic synopsis is Bioshock 1, you fall out of an airplane and have to try to figure out a way to get back to the mainland.
Okay.
And so you go through this, you get into a lighthouse that takes you down into a tiny little submarine that takes you down, and you find there's a city underwater, under the Atlantic Ocean.
Ah.
And that's where the game takes place. So you spend all of your time in this underwater city that is unheard of. Nobody knows it's there. So you're like just discovering it for the first time for yourself. Meanwhile, people have been living here the whole time, and they have an advanced civilization.
Of course they do.
So advanced that they sort of imploded.
Which I was talking about earlier, which I believe has probably happened in actual human history.
It's already been almost 20 years, so it's not exactly spoilers anymore. But the main component of what drives the whole story is that this advanced underwater city civilization discovered a way to manipulate genetics in real time. As in, they could perform a type of surgery that could change you completely in one sitting.
I'm forgetting what, there's a term for this. I'm forgetting what the actual term is.
I don't know. It's a lot like transitioning.
I was going to body reconstruction. Well,
Probably
the
not exactly like that.
construction? It wouldn't be reconstruction.
If you could be a girl for a day, would you?
Okay.
Would you do it?
Maybe?
Would you do it?
Nah, the
It's gotta be for
effects
just
from.
one day, though, okay? Being a woman sounds like it sucks.
Literally
I
just
was-
one day, but you experience everything.
Well, I don't know which day. No, definitely not. I'm just saying,
Everything?
like, no.
Everything.
You
Yeah,
heard
sure.
that? I was like, wait, can I
I
just
was
get
gonna
a
say.
normal day?
Everything.
I was gonna say,
You're
no,
just
no
gonna get
disrespect,
coffee,
but
come
like,
back,
y'all, when
You
you know,
gotta get the
when
full
that time of the month
I
experience.
want
comes,
the full experience. It sounds
You have to
scary.
get the full experience.
Just
No.
for a day, though. Just for a day.
I don't know about that.
no, I'm good. Again, the time of the month thing just kind of
Getting a
just.
solid no.
It's just one thing that puts me
That's
off.
not even what I'm talking about, dude.
Would you be a guy for a day?
Definitely.
Absolutely, right?
Definitely.
Being a guy rocks. It's so easy.
So
Honest.
easy.
Well, I'll tell you one thing I don't have. Fucking migraines.
Facts, B.
I probably will never experience a migraine. You know what? Thank God for that one. Sorry. I'm sorry that migraines exist. I'm real happy I don't have to experience them.
Yeah, no. I mean, all mine are like physically, because our cards like physically. If I'm doing something like,
Do you get migraines?
yeah, but
He
just
wasn't here for the migraine conversation.
Yeah, he was.
what's that? Okay.
Yeah, we were talking about them. Apparently, I know exactly what migraines are like. I've been told by people who have them. I've been confirmed that my information's good.
No,
I've
no,
never
that like,
experienced
oh, you're asking me. It's, I mean, it's no, I'm not saying it's like good or anything. It's just that when I used to have them, it's just not like.
He had the perfect explanation.
He
He
did.
had the perfect explanation.
See, I was trying to describe it for KJ.
Because I've never experienced and I don't know exactly what they would feel like.
Yeah.
And Mina confirmed for me that every word I said was pretty much spot on.
I'm getting a mini one right now, actually.
Damn.
Alright.
A mini one.
She's just thinking about them.
Okay. Okay.
See, women just make shit up and it becomes a problem for everybody.
Love that.
She's just thinking about migraines. Now she's gonna have a migraine. See, you just made yourself have a bad day.
Oh, I'm thinking about $1 million too, but like, where
Where's
is
the money
it?
at?
Where
Shit, I mean, shit. If that
Come on, think
that
harder.
could work,
You got magic
man.
powers. You can make migraines. You can make $1 million. Do it. Just gotta focus.
Just think a little bit harder.
Man, it's all that easy.
One of these days, magic will happen.
One of these days.
Probably when nobody's looking.
Definitely happens when no one's looking.
I just hope it's not the type of magic that happened in Sinners.
In Sinners? Did you guys watch Sinners? The Ryan Coogler movie that just came out?
No, that. No, how have
I
y'all?
recommend watching it. It's pretty good. It's
Yeah,
pretty
it's
good.
pretty good.
Oh, I went to see it.
Yeah. I think, when did we go? Like Sunday?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Okay, yeah. Obviously I
That's
heard
a
like
movie?
buzz about it. I just haven't really seen anything like relating to like trailers or anything like that. If you can give me like
You want to give him a synopsis?
Okay. I think it's basically it's a very cultural movie. I'd say. Based in 1932, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so.
Yeah, in Mississippi.
Interesting.
Oh,
In
okay.
a small town during like Jim Crow era. So some of the people were still working in plantation and stuff like that.
And they were sharecroppers.
Yeah, sharecroppers. But basically, there's a couple of twins, the Smoke and Stack twins, that I guess they used to live in the town and they moved away to Chicago for like 7 years, and then they came back with a shit ton of money, and they bought like a mill from the KKK clan.
No shit.
Yeah. So
Did they know about that?
Did they know it was the KKK that they bought it from?
No,
Yes,
the KKK
they
know
had-
who was buying it.
yeah,
knew.
they knew.
Oh,
They knew.
shit.
They knew.
Oh, okay.
I don't know the story, so it's all
Yeah.
news to me.
So
Yeah.
basically, they bought the mill to turn it into a juke joint.
A juke joint,
Yeah.
yeah.
A juke joint?
Yeah, so they, just
Play
like a club-
blues and
club.
stuff.
Yeah, like a jazz club.
Yeah,
Yeah,
basically.
basically. So yeah, and so they made all that happen in one day, which makes me think like we're not that productive.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
kids are
say
fucking
this-
lazy. Look at great grandparents.
Saying the truth out loud. Go ahead.
Damn.
Honestly, that's what it makes me think about, because like they were able to pull all that up in one day. Like they bought the mill that morning. They set it up. They had the sign up.
Trying to get the
They had
easy way out
food
of
ready.
shit.
He recruited a bunch of people
Yes.
to work the event, and I'm just
Literally,
like
all in one day.
all in one day, and I'm like, we're not nearly
And
as
here we are,
productive as we
sitting
could
around
be.
singing Tupac all the time, like he was an idol or some shit.
It's who you know, who you can convince to give you what you need, and like how you can like organize things to put
How
together.
did
Yeah.
50 Cent not die?
Right.
He got shot nine
Nine
times.
times.
9 times.
He was too stubborn to
It
die.
was on the same night, right?
Yeah, he was too stubborn to
dude.
He
die.
said, "I'm not ready to go."
Yeah,
Damn.
I have a
give a
lot of
fuck
shit
what
to
y'all
talk
say.
about in the future.
You know, you can almost draw a history timeline of like what caliber of bullets people were using over the years, because like back then that must have been 9mm or less. Because first of all the gangbangers now are using 50 cal and they have no idea how to shoot, so they're shooting wild. So what ends up happening in the hospitals, and we get hospital reports telling us what's happening with gangs, they're shooting 50 cals and missing every shot. Which means when everybody's shooting 50 cals, you get a lot more survivors.
Said y'all need to learn how to aim.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
Actually, don't. Please.
Meanwhile, when you get a fucker with a Glock who's shooting 9 mils, they're a lot more consistent with where they're putting those bullets. So they end up getting more hospital visits with the 9mm. Because with the 50 cals, either they're not going to hit you at all, or you're not going to live through the one shot that gets you.
50 counts a lot.
It's a big bullet.
Yeah.
It's quite the
Got some punch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
leaves quite the hole.
Yeah.
You can actually shoot through the Cybertruck door with a 50 cal.
You can piss through a Cybertruck door if you...
My
I was
God.
gonna say it's gonna go back to talking shit.
Oh, you the one that mentioned it.
I did mention
Yeah,
it.
It's an unpainted steel door. That shit will rust if I look at it hard enough.
That's why you gotta wrap it.
Shit, man, you know what sweat is? We live in Florida. You're just constantly spraying water out of your skin. You just stand next to the Cybertruck, watch that thing melt.
It's like
There's
50
We have a
on the road
real
every
rust
Yeah,
problem
every
on the
day.
Cybertruck
It's
too.
ridiculous.
always one I see like around where I work.
That one didn't come out of my ass. Like there's an actual rust problem.
Oh my gosh.
I was say it.
You
By
can't
all
have a
means.
Cybertruck in Florida, and I laugh every time I see one.
There's so many out here.
They're so
So
dumb.
many.
Yeah.
Go to Miami, dude.
Yeah,
Well,
dude.
you've been there.
I've seen them.
Yeah, they're
I know.
everywhere.
There's Teslas everywhere.
Yeah, Tesla's
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's so
It's
fucking
taken
tempting.
over.
If I wasn't in the work truck, I'd be cutting them off. They have the most sensitive,
I even see them in Japan.
they have the
Really?
most sensitive
Yes.
auto braking
I was
system
not
in the
expecting for
world.
it to be like that.
Yeah.
And I love it, man, because like some of those Tesla drivers are so aggressive, and all you got to do is kind of cut in front of them. It doesn't even matter how close. 'Cause
Oh.
That system is so
It's gonna
good.
make them stop.
They're gonna stop on a dime. Meanwhile,
cool.
you didn't stop. You just keep going, but
That's
they had to
cool.
stop. Fuck them Tesla drivers. You kidding me?
Oh my
Really, I didn't even know that. That's like
Yeah.
No,
if
you're
a
messing
Tesla
with
driver ever pisses you off, just cut him off. First of
Okay.
all,
yeah, 'cause your foot ain't working for that shit. Then
first of
okay.
all,
That's kind of like a brake check.
95% of the time,
That's what I'm saying.
95% of the
brake
time,
check before, like that
Yeah.
sucks.
and you know that's
No,
why
no,
you're
you're
not supposed to tailgate people.
I was gonna say I
don't do it
usually.
regularly. It was just one specific time that like pissed me off because I wasn't doing it on purpose. Someone was like really close behind me. So
I do
needed
it
to
all
be
the
up.
time. I'm constantly tailgating people. I'm just always on everybody's ass.
I like to keep at
Like-
least 2 car lengths.
I'll tell you why too.
Yeah.
And let me get my overalls up.
Oh my
That's some old man shit. I'll tell you why. I don't know what happened last year, but sometime early last year, everybody in this state decided they're going to drive 10 under the speed limit.
Oh yeah.
Have you all noticed that too?
Yeah.
In like what early like
I
morning
can't
for
even
work.
do the
I can't
whole
do that.
speed limit, and that's what I'm screaming at people through my windshield about. Is can we do the whole fucking speed limit?
At least.
At least, like I'm used to doing
Yeah.
10 over. Now
I
everybody's
cruise at
doing
10 over.
10
Like,
under.
I literally cruise at 10 over. Sometimes 15 over.
Isn't it illegal to go 10 under?
Past that, they're gonna stop you. But like, you know.
Oh yeah, I mean technically 5 over is ticketable.
Yeah, but they normally don't
No.
even mess. They don't even like
Don't
try
even
to chase
notice.
you unless it's like 15 above.
Yeah.
No, because it's like a $25 ticket. They don't want that. They want to hit you with the 350.
They want to hit you with the
500 bill.
Yeah, which is that's a fucking spike.
Last time I got a ticket, it was only like 120 though.
Fucker got me for a $10 charge on he couldn't verify my insurance when I was driving my grandma's car.
That should have been a warning. That's so
That's a
petty to
10.
And because my lights weren't on in some fog, but the sun was out. Meanwhile, 10 other cars passed us with no lights. I'm like, and he's like, they're different.
You know, that doesn't happen in Teslas because it's automatic.
I'm like, come on, man, is this America?
Get the fuck out of here.
I don't use the automatic lights. I got my car specifically as low tech as I could get it because I didn't want all the automatic shit.
What are you driving these days?
I have the BRZ, so right out there. You didn't look at it.
I didn't look at it, no.
You haven't seen my new car.
I have.
I
Didn't
Yeah.
you send me a picture of it?
I think I sent you a picture of it. Probably.
Yeah.
I
Like,
was showing it off.
yeah.
He's seen it.
yeah, and ridden in it. Did still working like it usually does.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Huh? Oh yeah, I love it. Yeah, have you ever seen a Miata?
Yeah.
So it's just a little bit bigger, but still tiny. And I got it specifically over the Miata for 2 reasons. One, it was a little bit cheaper. And 2, it's more practical. Because technically there's back seats. Technically there's back seats.
Oh, there
If
are.
you're skinny enough, you could fit. I fit in my back seats. I don't recommend them, but they work in a
No.
pinch.
They're there.
Like if the trip is less than an hour, you'll probably be okay.
Yeah,
it won't
yeah.
even hurt.
I was gonna say. Over that, I'm
It is
assuming
pretty
you're.
tight in there, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I'm assuming any more than that, your legs are gonna be in
I
the
always recommend to
chokehold.
sit behind me because I'm short as fuck, so my seat's way the fuck up. Do you
Yeah.
Did it
mind?
just?
No, it just fell.
Did
Oh,
it just
somewhere.
Can
The
you get
beetle
your shit
like
straight?
kept hitting the fucking
Where is it? I just saw it
ceiling
go
and
near the
then
chair.
the light
Right
bulb,
there.
and it just fell
Oh.
on the floor.
Damn.
It's
Fucking
just,
blondes, man.
Like no one hit it, no one touched it or anything. It's just out right now.
No, they're just dumb. It's just a yellow version of the same
Like it
black
hit its
beetles
head and
everywhere.
just got knocked out.
Yeah. It's a little dizzy. It'll get back up.
Probably fly in someone's
I
face.
saw an article about somebody did a study about bugs following the lights. They wanted to understand how and why.
Yeah.
Turns out, all the bugs that do follow lights are flying backwards into them,
That's fucking hilarious.
which is why this little dude right here keeps spinning around in circles because he's actually trying to go backwards into the light,
That's
and it keeps
Fascinating.
shifting on him because he's going around it. And so they're not even really looking at it properly. It's supposed to be behind them. They're trying to keep it behind them, and they're trying to lift up.
yeah.
So that's what they're
So
doing.
It almost looks like they'd be like
And there was this whole complicated UV light thing they were doing to a bunch of different bugs, like moths and dragonflies and beetles and shit.
yeah.
So they tried to watch a bunch of different bugs to see how they all did it. They all behaved the same way. All the ones that followed the light are all flying backwards into it. So, which is why they look so confused when they're doing it, because they're not even really trying to go that way. Forward for them is whatever's ahead of the light, and they keep flying up into it backwards. And I forget what the point of that study was, but they're not done. They're still trying to figure it out.
Do you really need a point to do a study?
I mean, there should be
Just
some
need
kind of
money.
question that you're trying to answer, right?
I suppose. But not necessarily. You might just want to observe something.
I mean, I guess.
Well, why do you observe it? You observe it maybe because you're curious.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
Curiosity for sure.
but the scientific method dictates that there should be a specific question that you're seeking to answer. So if they're performing a study, they need to know what they're trying to study.
Do you then hypothesize about the same term? Like, okay, I think they do it this way because...
Yeah, that's pretty much how it works. You have an idea of what should happen, but you're going to test it. So, like, you expect that if you put red and blue together, you're going to get purple. So the experiment becomes, if I put red and blue together, do I get purple, or what color do I get?
Turquoise.
Then your test becomes, you take a red and you take a purple, you put them together.
And then
Or you take a red and a blue, and put them together, and your results should be purple, in which case your hypothesis was correct the first time. And then you got to write down the whole process of what you did so that other people can read it and try to copy it and do the same thing.
Scientific method, guys.
Because it's only valid if it's a recreatable process.
Yes, this is true.
Somebody else needs to be able to do the same steps that you did and come to the same answer for it to be considered true.
Yes, that's how they. That's how the scientific community works. Yes.
Yeah, and the scientific method is as simple as can be. Basically, you have a question. If this, then what?
Almost like coding.
Pretty much. It's just pure logic at its most fundamental application. Asking questions about why shit works the way it does.
Yeah.
Science should be in everybody. I think everybody should be a scientist. Because being a scientist is not about working in a lab. It's about asking questions and doing the process to find out the answers.
Yes. Okay, so where my mind is going is that, like, I think everybody has questions for stuff, but they don't necessarily want to spend the brain power on, like, trying to figure out how to get the answer.
That's why we have President Trump. Nobody wants to know how the government works. They just want the government to work.
No one cares about the process. They just want the results.
So they hired a guy who's going to just ignore all the rules and red tape and just make shit happen.
But then it's just like you kind of want to see the process. Well, a person like me is going to want to see the process or understand the process of how you achieved your answer or like how you got there. Because not only do I want to like recreate it, I also want to see like the frame of like thinking of like how you did the thing.
Yes,
you know?
absolutely, 100%.
Ask you to
Except
show your work.
Yeah.
This is going to blow your mind.
Okay, there you go.
Quantum physics.
Ah.
Quantum physics have some special rules.
Yes.
In that they don't necessarily follow any of the ordinary physics of the rest of the fucking universe.
This is true.
The whole goddamn thing. I mean, like, the places we have never seen or explored yet have weird rules, and we don't know what those rules are yet, but I promise you, those rules are not as weird as the quantum physics rules. Quantum physics have their own set of weird-ass fucking rules, and we don't really understand them completely yet, but we're getting there.
Yes.
And I think this is, whenever I talk about quantum, it always ties back into AI. And only because we have something that we're calling AI right now, and it sort of pisses me off.
Is it because quantum computing's been in the news lately?
No. And it should be. Because we've started to make some good strides into it. We should be all more educated and excited about quantum technology because our current set of computer technologies rely on a binary system.
Yes.
Everything comes down to a very simple on or off signal.
1 or 0.
Everything. Everything. Think about that, dude. Every airplane flight, every space shuttle launch, every bus schedule, every time clock, every website you have ever seen or heard of or thought of, web design, and all kinds of calculations for where weather is going to be, the technology that went into making and designing a refrigerator,
Yes.
all of that was built and designed on technology that is based on zeros and ones.
Yes. Whether you see power here and no power here, you know.
And we have created some very complicated and impressive systems using this extremely simplistic technology. We tricked rocks into thinking they have memory by throwing lightning into them and trapping it there.
You know, that's a way to put it. That is certainly a way to
Our
put it.
computers right now are basically caveman computers.
We use silicone.
If you just apply a little imagination and think about the movies and stories you've ever heard of and seen, think about some of the ancient technologies too and what they were capable of with their clicking gear wheels and weird calculator calendars. And think about what those technologies were meant to achieve and how they worked. And basically, we have not gone nearly as far as we think we have. We've merely taken a single step forward. One. In a long beach walk.
What sort of things do you think we're like on track to discover then? Because it sounds like you have some ideas about the future.
Where quantum technology comes involved, why that is such a big leap and why it's going to change the world once we have nailed it. Quantum qubits, which would be the analog to a bit in electronics,
Yeah.
instead of having two positions on or off, they can have 8 or more positions. Every single individual qubit can be in one of 8 or more positions. And some of those positions are not mutually exclusive, meaning it can take 2 positions at the same time.
Yeah.
Which is fucking nuts. What? What are you talking about? It can be in 2 states at the same time. It's a time-traveling qubit piece of physics. It time travels.
Revolutionized.
It copies itself and just puts itself in the same place at the same time. That's a God power. That's literally in the Bible. God can be everywhere at once.
Omnipresent.
Omnipresence. Qubits can do that. Quantum physics can observe that. Here's where things start to get weird. In quantum physics, what we have discovered is that if you observe something, it reacts to being observed. You didn't touch it. You didn't do anything to it. You just looked at it with your eyes. Your eyes don't do anything. You're accepting light into them. They're not emitting anything. There's no signals coming out of your eyes, right? As far as we know. But in the quantum physics world, if you are studying something at the quantum level, your observation of that thing changes the outcome of what it is.
Yeah,
because they can be in 2 things at the same time.
Split.
Yes.
Photon. I know what
the split wave theory.
Yeah.
Where they shoot a bunch of photons into a couple of slits in a thing.
Yeah.
And they study where do the photons land on a blank sheet behind that.
Right. If it was to act like a molecule or like a singular point,
they had
to like one slit.
They had a
Or if it was more like a wave, you'd see like.
Yeah, they had a premeditated guess of where the spread would be if it would follow normal physics, and it didn't. And when they looked at it, every time they looked at it, it was different.
Well, like if they didn't observe it, then you would get what you would expect, like a singular thing where
and that's where the magic
on the other side. But if you observed it, then, or maybe I'm getting it backwards. If you observed it, it collapsed into like one side or the other.
I think you got it.
But if you didn't observe it, it would act more like a wave.
Right.
We're talking about like a singular photon.
Right.
And that's just insane because then is it a wave or is it a particle?
Exactly.
Like
we're still not sure.
Yeah, we can't ever be sure because when we observe it, it acts like a particle. But like if we don't, then it's gonna act like a wave.
Light is a physical thing, and now we're learning how to harden it. I don't even know how that works. But the quantum technology is really cool. And it's going to be tricky once we try to figure out how to harness that better, because apparently if you observe it, it changes. How do you work with that? Every time you look at it, it's changing. It's slippery, like smoke.
I suppose you'd be able to like store what position it's in and then like draw your data from that.
I think that what we're calling AI now could probably help. Because what we're calling AI right now, is really just a program that can teach itself new things. And that's really all it is. That's all that it is. And so the programs don't need to translate from our inefficient human language to communicate to each other. They invented their own computer language that we don't understand. And AI pisses me off for all different kinds of reasons. And just listening to the engineers talk about it pisses me off too. They talk about AI, their own technology, the one they invented, as if it was a living thing. They talk about it like they're studying some rare species of animal in some unknown jungle. Like they're just watching how it behaves and trying to understand its habits. You made the motherfucker. You don't know how it works?
I think it depends. What AI are we talking about? Are we talking about the large language models, or are we talking
Pretty
about
much.
like real
No, the large language models, which is not real AI.
Yeah, no, it's basically enhanced.
It's an automated bullshit machine. Is what it is.
Oh my god. Well, no, I think the technology itself does pretty well. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
I think what it's best used for is when you put it into pattern recognition applications. It's done a great job so far studying new star systems that we couldn't discover before because we didn't know where to look.
Well, those aren't the large language models. That's a different type of AI.
But it's the same fundamental technology. Yeah. It's a self-learning program.
Yeah, if you're defining AI by that, then yes.
Yeah.
I saw the other day where I guess AI saw breast cancer tissue 5 years before it's actually.
They're better at doctors than identifying that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But so are dogs. I'm not even lying.
Facts. Yes, they can smell it.
Dogs can smell cancer, and they can smell it like the moment it starts to form before it even creates a proper tumor.
Mm-hmm.
And like, if we can just teach dogs to let us know when they smell that shit and where it's at, we wouldn't even need the computers.
There are actual dogs that do that. That's their job.
Because nature has managed to provide all of our same technologies, but better.
We learn from nature. That's how we iterate on our technology.
Yeah. A lot of that does happen. A lot of our, like the Boston Dynamics robots studied a lot of animals to get them to behave the right way and move the right way so they can be as efficient as possible. We do definitely learn from nature as much as we can.
Yeah.
At the same time, nature still does shit better.
Facts.
Because there is a theory that we have quantum tunnels in our brains, which means quantum technology may very well be in our very brains right now, just as part of being alive. We have quantum technology.
I have heard of this somewhere, but I don't know that I can speak on it because I don't know. I'm not super familiar with the concept. I don't know. Could you break that down a bit?
I was gonna say, at least give me an example.
It's not well understood or well researched.
I'm saying I've heard the terminology. I just haven't dug into it.
I believe it starts with an experiment in which somebody researched the weight of a human brain before and after death, and there was some complicated method they used to get the weight of the brain specifically while the person was alive, and then they used a similar method to measure the weight of the brain after that person had passed. And what they found was there was a measurable loss of weight that was unexplainable by loss of water or loss of mass.
Yeah, okay.
Like they specifically accounted for water and mass loss and still found that they were missing a certain amount of, like a 0.01 something grams of weight.
I think I know what you're referencing, but I can't remember the exact details.
And so that study was suggesting that if there was such a thing as a soul, maybe that was what was lost. And we're still not sure what it is. Fast forward a few years, there was another study done, more specifically on ways that the brain sends signals throughout itself. And it was found that there was a sort of hollow space that implied there could be a quantum tunnel in the brain. And they suggested it could be a quantum tunnel based on certain characteristics of the hollow spaces that they saw. I don't know exactly what those characteristics were. I don't remember off the top of my head. They were convinced that it could be quantum. And what is a quantum tunnel? Quantum tunnels are physical pieces of matter that facilitate the transmission of quantum bits. They're tunnels, they're basically wires that are meant to transmit qubits.
So essentially the particles in your brain would be sending information to somewhere else.
Yes. And this, I mean, the qubits don't have to go anywhere. Quantum bits don't need to move anywhere in particular.
No, but you've heard of
but they become entangled with other quantum
where
bits.
I was going. Okay.
And that is like one of the most key features and functions of a quantum technology is that there is such a thing as quantum entanglement, which has already been imagined in great detail in some video games and sci-fi stuff of how it could be used and what it might be used as and how and why.
Can I like break away into like a spiritual aspect of this? What if quantum entanglement is something like how, you know, when you feel the vibe in the room, you know?
And what if it is? What if that is how we feel the vibes? Tesla spoke about vibes as a very serious and physical thing that humans could interact with in a physical way. His description of the vibes of the Earth brought us down to a specific hertz wavelength. And I don't remember exactly what it is. I think it was pretty close to 8 hertz. Or
Interesting.
maybe 8 microhertz. I don't remember. We have the internet. I could ask.
Sure.
In any case, Tesla came up with a specific number. And we have found that specific number does, in fact, resonate with some part of the planet, like as a whole. So there was something to what he was talking about, long before we had any technologies to observe it. Tesla was just that kind of smart guy, that he could see the patterns. There have been a few in history that could see the patterns of certain things and postulate good guesses, good estimates of what could be real. And Einstein's most famous for coming up with lots of theories of atoms well before he could even look at them. And a lot of those theories came out to be true. And he just looked at the patterns of what he understood at the time. Tesla did something very similar where he discovered a lot about electricity and electromagnetic waves He was very big on electromagnetic waves. He was the first person that we know of, that we've recorded of, that came up with a working theory of long-distance power transmission.
This is true.
Which, I mean, if anybody else had done it with less finesse, would have killed everybody in the room every single time.
Yeah, that's why we still don't have it.
We're getting there. We're almost there. Somebody has come up with the technology.
Maybe in like another 30 years.
Not even. We should have a commercial version of long-distance power transmission within 10 years if those companies don't tank.
Thinking.
It all comes down to
very
money.
wishful thinking.
But the technology is possible now.
No, because you can throw a bunch of money into something, it could still be like not very good. Have you tried like the fanciest, highest edge version of ChatGPT? They have billions of dollars into that, into OpenAI. Like,
but
it's
you have to understand.
Kind of shitty.
You have to understand.
Kind of shit. I love
that first few
but, like,
billions
still
of
kinda
dollars is a gate. There's no way around it. You need to put that much money into something for it to become a real and general public type of technology. Otherwise, it dies. We have had solar technology for almost 100 years. It's only just now become everywhere because it never had the funding. There was a number of decades where the U.S. government would not research solar technologies because they were not cost effective.
I also feel like there was a lot of suppression from other sectors of the energy field.
Yes, but that's where the billions come into. That's why the number gets so high. Because you have so many opponents fighting change with millions and billions of dollars.
Are we getting into a fuck capitalism section? Because I'm with it. I'm kidding. I am a capitalist.
I mean, I'm not, but...
Oh, this will be fun. No, I'm kidding. I don't want to debate right now.
If I sound a little bit anti-capitalist, well... I was going to say, if y'all turn this into a back and forth, I'd really be in the backseat.
I'll join you.
Jesus.
We were talking about quantum. So AI is not really AI. What it is a self-learning program, which is pretty cool. I wish we understood it better. The guys who invented it should know it better. It's kind of embarrassing that they don't understand their own technology.
I would say it's akin to like having a child in a way, because you don't necessarily get to pick how it comes out.
I don't understand how they...
You like sort of shape it. Like, yeah, like you can guide it in a certain way.
It doesn't make sense to me.
But like, they literally do whatever.
This process of them not knowing, whatever series of processes that culminated into the engineers that invented it not understanding how it works, doesn't make any sense to me.
Would you say it's going to be a problem one day?
AI?
Not necessarily. Yeah. It's kind of
like
a problem now.
Kind of way?
Yeah, kind of taking over. Kind of.
I don't think so. Not yet. And because it's not real AI, it doesn't have any thoughts or feelings. It's pretending. I'm not joking when I say it's an automated bullshit machine. That's literally what it's doing. It's taking the most...
It can fool you into thinking it has emotions because it's...
It's already passed the Turing test, which is hilarious. I think that says more about us than it does about the machines.
It's funny, it's passed the Turing test and you can tell it doesn't have a fucking soul.
Right.
Like...
I guess neither do we. But here's the thing. Its entire function as a large language model is typically to scour the internet for the most common patterns of speech.
Yes.
So when it sees...
In a way.
No, that is exactly what they're doing. They have no memory.
Yeah.
They don't know what things are. They have absolutely no sense of facts. It doesn't understand what any individual object is, even if even if you had it described to you in full detail what a street lamp is. It doesn't know what a street lamp is.
No. So you're right.
You posited the question, what is a street lamp?
It relates the word like lamp to like it's sort of given like a weight.
It's 100% pattern recognition software.
This is sort of related to this word, this is sort of related to that word. You get these word maps and then it's like an entire thing.
The only key feature that's new in an AI that we didn't necessarily have before is that it can teach itself new things. It can reprogram itself. And that's where we have...
a neural network?
No. Not even close.
It's a different thing.
This is a robot that is teaching itself. Whereas in history, we have had to teach the robots ourselves. They couldn't teach themselves anything. Mm-hmm. You couldn't tell a program to watch something and understand how to make it function better because the programs were never equipped to do that. Right. So
You're basically saying it can interpret the data at this point.
The only advance in technology that the AI has actually achieved is the fact that it is capable of rewriting its programming based on new information. That's it. And the functions, the applications that we're using it for are kind of dumb. Large language models are dumb. There's absolutely no purpose in having a program to scour everything on the internet for the most common patterns of how we talk, just so that you can answer a question about horses, or to create an image that you made up on a dream.
Convenience.
Yeah.
I'd argue it's strictly for convenience. I
It's a fad.
I don't know that there's another argument.
These tech bros have released this thing into the wild without any restraint and without any moral regulation about what it's going to do.
Well, Chris, they have no agency. It's not necessarily dangerous.
It has stolen everything on the internet.
Yeah, but it's
I need you to.
it has no agency
I just need you to
can't do
realize
anything
the function
unless you tell it to do it.
of this is a program that ignored one of the oldest rules of the internet. There is a file called Robots.txt. This is as old as Microsoft.
It's a text file.
It's a text file.
Okay.
The text file is literally a letter saying, "Hello, automated program, please do not do anything to this website." Basically, don't come here and steal anything. Don't look at us.
Sure.
And it's specifically to tell automated programs, of which there are billions, to not scrape information from here. Not everybody has to have robots.txt. Most people do have robots.txt implemented, and they only have backdoor channels to specific advertising windows. So that's where those little pop-ups show up. The pop-up has a backdoor in. It can skip past robots.txt and allow a robot to come and get information from it, such as the number of times people have clicked on this ad. And it has to specifically be from the person providing the ad. There's a lot of credentials involved. Robots.txt is
pay the right price.
Robots.txt is practically sacred in computer terms. For all of computer history, every programmer in history has abided by the robots.txt. Their programs, their automated programs, their little scam bots and all their little bullshits that they throw onto the internet, the computers that are talking to more computers than people are talking to computers, all follow the rule of don't fuck with robots.txt. AI completely bypassed it and didn't listen to robots.txt at all. This isn't necessarily a law, but it is, I think, part of how we have had a working internet all this time.
I think I need to look up this specific case that you're talking
You
about.
should understand what robots.txt is, why it was made, and what it's boiled down to. The reason all it has to be is a text file and why it doesn't have to be super secure is because everybody has followed that one rule. If you're writing an automated program that is meant to scour the internet and do things
sort
automatically,
of like an honor code thing.
it has to not fuck with robots.txt.
Yeah, but
Because
robots,
that website
AI
will fuck with
technically
you
wouldn't have a moral code.
if you are caught stealing from their website all their information. That's private information. They are getting paid on that information by selling it through normal channels to people like Google and Facebook, instead of having it just be scraped off by any automated program that can come and look for anything. And
Copyright
most of the
laws.
time, your automated program's not looking for everything. You usually have a specific task for your automated program. It is looking for one thing in particular.
Yeah, I want to know how many views this YouTube video got.
Yeah. This is a message to no one. To all of you nobodies who are not listening to this.
What if in 5 years this specific episode blows up?
Right? It's just the one little time capsule episode of when I ranted about the government.
Just and I sat the hell back and just
Anarchy.
Robots.txt function has largely been to prevent automated programs from going places they weren't supposed to go and doing things they weren't supposed to do. And this has worked
Me in
all
college.
this time until AI. The large language models have been scouring all of the internet and completely ignoring robots.txt, which means they're going to government websites, they're going to hospital websites, they're going to individual personal websites, photography
scraping the
websites,
data.
cooking websites. None of these people are relevant to anything they're looking for most of the time. And they are still scraping everything off of that internet. And that's not just limited to text.
Now, I do understand the moral implications of, like, you shouldn't, like, just grab information with no You shouldn't just be allowed to grab someone's personal
There
information
are
or private
multi-story buildings with no windows that are just
I
full
just
of
want to
servers.
contest here, just a little bit.
And
like,
they are just
what
storing all this
exactly
information
are they
for no
doing
reason.
with the data?
That's the best
If
part.
they're not doing anything with it,
That's the best part.
that's malicious.
Nobody knows. There's no way to track.
Malicious, though.
There's no way to track their usage of any of the data that they're scraping, and they could be saving all of it. We are talking credit card numbers and medical histories and names and social security numbers.
Call me a little bit naive.
Granted, a lot of that's stolen already, but
the data in itself is not a bad thing. If they go on to use the data,
it is a crime.
If they go on to use the data for like a malicious
No,
purpose,
saving data from a medical record is a crime,
that is a crime. Yes, you are correct.
and they're just doing it anyway
Yeah, that's okay.
and getting away with it.
What I'm saying is like the program itself that is scraping the data, if it's not being used in a malicious, like for a malicious purpose, do we care?
I mean,
if it's not being used for any purpose at all.
It might not be used right now. Doesn't mean it won't be in the future.
Like if I went and cleaned out like fucking Wikipedia, like I got all the data on the internet.
This is the country that can't agree on what color is best.
What exactly happens then?
You think they're going to trust anybody to have their information?
Okay, well,
Does
that's a
anybody
fair
have
statement.
that kind of mindset around here?
I sure as hell don't.
There are bad people. There are many bad actors in the world.
I
I'm
mean,
not
I
saying
try
that
to
there
spread
aren't.
the word. Don't worry about your credit cards being stolen. I promise you, they've already been stolen many times.
Yeah.
Your credit
sure
card
they have.
company's on top of it, and they're
I'm
making
sure they
sure
have.
you don't feel it.
Yeah, data's all over the dark web.
Social security numbers, China's had it a long time.
I'm sure.
Russia's
But-
probably had a bunch of them too. It's those
thing
kind
is,
of
like,
things I'm
life
not
couldn't
meant to be
be
worried
stronger.
about, but like,
They do.
You've got some
It's
tech
just
bro in
that I get
California.
paid.
Yeah, they do. You gotta figure shit out anyway.
Don't smoke, kids.
Only on Tuesdays.
You've got a tech bro in California who's got an entire multi-story building with no windows full of servers.
Yes.
All those servers are adding all their computing power together to make what is essentially a giant supercomputer. That supercomputer's job is to provide a cloud-based AI service to anybody who asks. Meanwhile, in order for it to do even that much, it has to scour everything on the internet, the entire internet. And it's not limited to just the stuff that you and I can see regularly. It's going down the rabbit holes into the dark web too, which is like the iceberg. It's like 80% larger than what you normally see on the internet.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on the internet. Meanwhile, this AI program has no limits. It's just going everywhere and taking everything. So if we just blow past the environmental impact of all that computing power being used 24/7 just to run this program,
The actual energy cost.
never mind all that. The fact that this program has absolutely no limits and is going everywhere and taking everything means that your level of privacy has become zero. There is no such thing as privacy anymore.
Yeah.
You already have a program that's been everywhere.
Yes.
How hard do you think it is for the CIA to go into an AI server building and scour their memory banks for anything they
I
want?
believe the government already has all your information and they monitor you.
They've already been caught with buying backdoors into Apple iPhones.
Yeah.
Like, we know they're doing that, but it's like, here's the thing. They don't need more tools to do it with. Okay?
I don't know that we could stop that.
It
feel
was
like that's
bad
always gonna
enough
happen.
when they could get into every camera in the country and look into anybody's bank accounts at will.
Yeah, they can do what they want.
But now they know literally everything. And that's not a small thing either.
I'm not saying it's a small
You
thing
have
at
to
all.
understand that the algorithms that are in Facebook and in Google have been tracking the things that you look at and building patterns of you and people
Yes.
like you
Yes, that's how the algorithm gets so good.
to an accuracy so close to reality that it sounds like it's listening to you. That you get paranoid about your phone listening. It's not.
It's being like, oh my gosh, I
It's
didn't even
worse
say
than
that,
that.
but I see a thing about it already.
It is worse than that. And you
But in reality,
notice.
3 weeks ago, you typed something and then it like picked up.
You
And then-
notice the times that you thought about something, and then that shit shows up on your phone.
Yes.
Yeah.
And why does that stand out? Because you didn't say it out loud. It's scarier than it listening to you. It knows you well enough to guess the next thing you're going to look for.
It sees the pattern.
That's an ordinary binary algorithm program. That's not even getting into a self-learning large language model.
Humans are predictable.
Sure,
Are we some sort of robot? Would you think?
probably. Just a meat suit with a ghost inside. Skeleton's trapped. Wants to be free.
Wearing the Evangelion.
Get spooky. What is it, the middle of July again? Spooky time.
Oh my god.
But I mean, all of this is building up to say that my issue with AIs is that they're dumb. They're retarded. AIs are the stupidest fucking thing we've ever invented. Why? Because we don't even know how they work, and we can't. When they invented them, they did not create a window for them to understand every little code that's being generated on a moment-to-moment basis. And they've invented their own languages that we don't know how to decipher without them explaining it to us. We have to ask the machine to kindly tell us what language it's fucking using because we don't know how to understand it. We couldn't crack it. It would take us too long. Because they invented a language that was way more efficient for their own processes. It's the only reason any of it works.
For those of you that have seen Black Mirror, that one episode, just take a tab and then like listen and read, and then
I mean,
maybe you'll know what's going on then.
All these businesses and corporations have been pouring tons of money all this time into trying to figure us out better, trying to generalize us as much as possible, to guess better what we're going to do next, so that they can just be ahead of the game and sell us everything.
So we could anticipate our needs.
All about money.
Capitalism for the win, baby!
And they own people, which is a lot more valuable than land or housing, a lot more valuable than any business you might own. They own the people because they own all your information. They already have it. Why are we making it easier for them? And with the dumbest tool imaginable, they keep marketing it like it's this fun little toy. Oh, you can talk to the robot. It talks back to you like it's a person.
If the worst thing that they do is use my information to sell me stuff, I don't know that I'm necessarily angry.
AI
Only
has
because
some,
I'm not going to buy that shit anyway. I got no money.
That's just the part that interacts with us. But like,
I can relate.
So this is where I'm coming back to where it was. Its only real function is pattern recognition, and that it can teach itself new things based on new things that it sees. So it's constantly trying to develop generalizations of everything all the time. Meanwhile, it has no memory.
Humans do that.
Sure, we're not supposed to.
We have memory.
But the AI doesn't. And that's a key note to take away from why the AI sucks. It doesn't know anything. It doesn't remember anything. It's doing a quick search of its own data banks because it already scoured the entire internet and built up patterns of everything. You generate a question, it looks for the pattern that question fits into. You tell it to generate an image, and it's looking for the pattern your words fit into, based on all of the associations it tried to make.
You're not wrong.
But at the same time, it doesn't remember anything. It doesn't remember what a rake is.
This is true.
So every time you ask it a question, it is a brand new person every single time. It's born every single query.
Yeah.
A whole new person, but more like reincarnated.
In a way, yeah. It has to run like through the data.
So
of the
every
chat
question
that's
is a
already been in,
reiteration
and then,
of the
run
same
through
existing
everything else
thing.
talking about.
And we talk about it like it's this brand new thing that's going to change the world and be this cool superpower. And in some ways, it has some good uses.
Been very helpful for the last 2.5 years.
In some ways, it has some good uses. I can't argue that. But it's not fucking AI.
Coding? Have you heard of vibe coding?
I mean, that's basically what I do for work.
I literally do that almost every day for free.
So it bugs me that we call it AI because it's not AI. It is not an artificial intelligence. It can't be intelligent. It has no memory. It's basically a guessing machine. It's a really good guessing machine because it's taking into account a lot of factors.
How do you define intelligence?
I'm not sure how to put that into words.
Can I give you my definition of intelligence?
Shoot.
The ability to change what you're doing based on the new information that's brought in. Like, how fast can you adapt to change?
I love that. That's a great description. And by that description, we are a low intelligence country.
Nice.
So adapting to change. I'm glad you said that. You know, that's a great springboard for how I can describe this. Because it comes down to how we understand the brain now. Plasticity.
Yeah, neuroplasticity.
Plasticity.
There you go.
Plasticity.
So wait, say that again?
Neuroplasticity.
Neuroplasticity.
Okay.
Which is the one word that describes the brain's ability to rewrite its own rules based on new features of your world. New information or new circumstances or new living space, whatever. Your brain has to adapt. You have to become comfortable with the new thing,
The
whatever it
ability
is.
to learn new stuff.
Okay.
And in our studies of neuroplasticity, we have discovered that it is in fact a childlike feature.
In what sense?
Literally, it is a feature of juvenilehood.
Oh, like literally, like physically when you're younger.
Yeah.
You have a higher neural.
So in other animals,
as you're learning and stuff like that, yeah.
In other animals, we have studied neuroplasticity and noticed that when an animal reaches maturity, most of them stop learning new things.
Not that they stop. It's just
It comes to a visible halt.
Yeah,
like
it's harder.
It's not a complete stop, but like it's a noticeable, significant halt in the amount of new learning that they do with new information.
Yeah.
You take an older animal that's already past maturity and put it into a brand new environment, it's not as likely to succeed as a juvenile. And it's because their brains are no longer adapting as much. And there are reasons for that. Evolutionary, explainable reasons for why their brains are like that and why ours are like this. And primates, in general, will retain a lot more juvenile behaviors and juvenile, developments
Guys,
into
this
adulthood.
Goes back to that conversation we were having about how maturity doesn't necessarily change as you age.
No, and in fact, maturing makes you harder to learn. As it turns out.
Have you ever heard the term, the phrase "stuck in your ways"?
Yes. And that is the loss of some neuroplasticity. We don't lose much of it as humans. In fact, this is the thing that I was telling you earlier, the way I see people, like nobody grows up. We are all exactly the same kids that we always were. We're kids. And not a whole lot changes about that particular mentality. The things that you were as a kid have largely stayed with you into adulthood. And I don't think I'm the only one that can say, I don't feel like an adult. I certainly don't feel like I've grown up.
I've been saying that for the longest. It's like I'm 28, right? I'm 28 and I still like don't necessarily feel like I'm like.
I'm 32 and waiting for my puberty.
Like adult, like I am
waiting for my growth spurt over here.
Like, I take care of shit, but it's just like at the same time, I still don't necessarily in the inside feel different than I did when I was in high school.
Yeah,
like I'm still just as like creative. I'm still just
as it turns out
optimistic about stuff. I love learning. It's.
So as it turns out, the science kind of backs that up.
Type thing.
The science backs it up. That feeling that we get, that we don't really grow up, that we're not really adults yet. We're probably going to feel that way well into our 50s. That we're not really adults yet. Yeah. I need an adult. No, fuck, I am one.
I am the adult.
Shit. Yeah, no. As it turns out, that's by evolutionary design. Human brains, and most primates to a lesser degree, will retain juvenile neuroplasticity state in the brain for as long as possible, which has evolved to become us living into old age and still being able to adapt to new things.
I was going to say, what do you think is the evolutionary advantage to that?
Adapting to new things.
I mean, yeah. The faster you're able to adapt, the easier it is.
You may have noticed that humans exist on most parts of the planet. There's a lot of different environments, a lot of different threats, a lot of different things to get used to. You can't take a man out of the desert and put him right into the tundra and expect him to succeed. Except apparently you can.
Yeah.
If you took his son as a child and raised him up in the tundra, he'll be fine. His body will adapt, and his brain will adapt, and he will just be used to the cold. It won't bother him.
We do have Eskimos. Is that a bad term? I don't know.
I think that's the name of an actual tribe. I don't think it's wrong. They're most populous in Alaska as far as the United States go.
Yeah.
I don't think they're limited to Alaska, but...
Probably not.
So neuroplasticity being such a big deal in humans comes with some consequences. We evolved to use that adaptability as much as possible because it is most beneficial to us compared to the consequences that we came with it. Because if you're going to retain a juvenile trait, it's really hard to select just one. Genes don't work that way. They come in groups. So if you turn on one gene and leave it on, you're probably leaving on a bunch of other genes.
That is the fascinating thing about
and that's where that people don't grow up kind of thing comes from.
Yeah.
Because we're really not growing up. In order for us to retain that adaptability, our brains evolved to not actually grow up. There isn't a proper adulthood in human brains other than fully developing.
So then you think the concept of adulthood is just like idealism?
100%. That's why we had so many rituals to market. Because there's nothing real to market.
What would you say about like people who are stoic then? That's just them, like as a kid they were quiet and just like, like how does that work? Or like different other philosophies.
I don't think stoicism is akin to being an adult. It's just you're more calm about how you react to the world around you, which is a genuinely decent way to go about life, because if you don't react as a knee-jerk every single time, you can probably prevent yourself from putting your foot in your mouth.
I would say most people would describe being stoic as being more mature, though. Not necessarily as akin to adulthood, but like that's...
Which is probably a failure of language more than anything else. What is maturity?
Yeah, okay, there you go. This is how large language models work. They just give a weight to the how similar one word's meaning is to another one.
Yes. That's why they suck.
Yeah.
Because our language wasn't built for machines to quantify. It was built for us to communicate with each other using noises we can make with our mouths.
I mean, yes, but it's also hard for us to
and how
all
cool is that?
agree on what one specific word means because of the perspective and how you think
Yeah,
about
no shows up in a lot of languages for the same exact meaning.
Yes.
Which is pretty cool to me.
Yes, very true.
But besides that, how cool is it that all of us decided unanimously as a species that we're going to use our mouths primarily as the noisemaker for language?
It could have been anything else, guys.
I could say something went as fast as... it was done in that.
Yes.
But that's not a word.
No, but we all
That's
understand
a symbol.
what it means. Yeah.
It's a symbol for a word. We know that sentence ends with the word that.
Mm.
So even if I don't say the word that, it was done
Yeah.
you know the sentence ends in that. So that's still not a word. We're not using that as a word. That's a symbol. All the words come from our mouths.
Mm-hmm.
Because those are noises we are capable of making.
This is true. Are we going to get into different languages?
I don't know that many.
Just about how we all developed different
languages are cool
based off the sounds that we can make with our mouth. And there are so many different ways that you can make sounds with your mouth, and we have so many different languages that take advantage of that. I think that's
I think we can come back to that. I haven't finished talking about I haven't gone back to quantum yet.
Have meanings.
So I was talking about AI and how shitty AI is in real life right now, because it's not really AI. What would make it AI? AI would be the intelligence that can actually think for itself. And part of thinking for yourself involves having emotional reactions to things. Emotions...
When I said AI has no agency, that's why I'm not afraid of it.
Right. But here's the thing, where emotions come from is from vastly complicated systems.
Chemical reaction.
That's the physics of it, but what makes an emotion trigger is a very complicated
I hate to break
series
it.
of
I hate
thoughts.
to put it down like that. Yes, it is a complicated series of thoughts, but I think it's mainly influenced by that chemical reaction that happens in your body.
That's actually not true. And there are studies to prove that.
I'm going to have to look this up.
The chemicals dictate how you feel.
Yeah. And
But
feelings
the
influence
feelings
thoughts.
are generated by the things that you know and think.
This is a chicken and egg problem.
Sort of. You have glands in your body built to give you feelings. And those feelings are a lot more wide-ranging than just the thoughts that you have in your head. You feel them throughout. And you feel them in certain places. So you might feel swooping through your belly or your heart. Or you might feel chills. Or you might feel hot, or you might feel there's more to it than just the thoughts in your head.
Yeah.
There's something else, an extra layer. It's not always the whole body, but there's more to a feeling, and why we call them feelings, than the words that you hear in your head.
Yeah, chemical reaction.
But the words in your head are what dictate when you're going to have those feelings. You have feelings.
I don't know that I would go so far as to say
because you have memories.
Okay, talk to me.
Your memories dictate your feelings. You feel a certain way because you remember things a certain way. Because, let's break it down to a simple example. Let's say
I do have a frame of thought for this, but I'll let you finish.
Let's say you have the right way of tying your shoes. You have the right way to tying your shoes. It was the way that you learned it because your grandpappy taught you how to tie your shoes. And that was the way you learned it, and that was the right way to do it. Okay?
Left and right. You pull it tight.
So because your grandfather was kind to you, you developed an emotion of liking your grandfather.
Mm.
Because of all the memories you developed with him being kind to you. Tie that into how he taught you how to tie your shoes. You already generated some positive emotions about him because of the memories you have with him. Now, the memory of him teaching you how to tie your shoes has attached all of that to tying your shoes.
Yes, have you ever heard...
Now, someone ties their shoes a different way, and it makes you mad. It makes you mad because you already developed emotions previously to the memories that you already have now.
And because there's a misalignment with how you remember that feeling made you feel, you then experience the opposite feeling for what that other person is doing.
Yes.
Have you ever heard the phrase that they don't necessarily remember what you say, but they always remember how you made them feel?
Yes.
Yeah, that's true in like basically every interaction with other people.
Yes.
Like
well, that's where the
don't know
chemicals
how you
come
made them
in.
feel, but not necessarily what exactly.
Because thoughts are fast. They're always cycling through real fast. It's a highway in here all the time for everybody.
I'd like to believe so.
Feelings are big-ass events.
Yeah.
Every time one of your glands squeezes down and spits that juice into your body, your whole body feels the effects of it, whether you notice or not. Because that's literally juice cycling through your blood system and coming back up to the brain. There's a whole physical reaction everywhere in your body. Your cells are doing things in reaction to that chemical being dumped into the rest of the body. Normally, they're kept in safe little pockets apart from everything else.
Glands.
But what makes those glands squeeze down? The brain is doing something to choose when to squeeze down those emotions.
Based on the environment, I think, right?
And it's entirely based on the fact that you can have memories. Your memories will dictate your emotions. Your emotions become amplified by the memories you already have. And then those glands get squeezed to further enhance the memory. It's all about keeping memories. Emotions are for memory.
Mm-hmm.
So, there were some studies done about how people feel and how they remember things and the content of the memories. And there was like this weird sort of blind study where they had people watching videos of things and then describing what happened afterwards.
Sure.
And then they sort of gaslit them a little bit. So that's where the experiment
You can
comes
make
in.
people form memories.
And
Human psychology is so interesting.
It was like a justice system experiment.
Mm-hmm.
So 100%, that's what it was talking about, was you can't trust people's word on anything because they make up shit in the moment that they believe is real.
Yes. We're all a little bit delusional, guys.
Yes.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
At least a little bit.
So not just Joe.
So, yeah. But the emotions are derived from having memories, and the memories that we develop end up being very complicated because they don't just include the thoughts in your head. They include all of your senses and your entire body at that moment. It's a very complicated data set of information every moment to moment, all the time. When you develop those memories that way, you're using all of your senses as we do, naturally, automatically, all the time. We are storing so much information that a lot of it can now intersect. Once that information starts intersecting into vast, complicated webs of associations.
Only because I don't believe we actually store all of it. I think we ignore a ton of it.
Oh, we do. We do ignore a lot of it.
We can't even perceive a lot of it.
That's a whole different conversation.
But I'll let you continue. Sorry.
You're not wrong. But the point is that we are taking a lot of informational data.
Yes.
That we don't typically think about consciously. Our brain's processing a lot of it in the background, and we don't really notice. All that information is being stored in a sort of shorthand in our memories. And it has a purpose, because it's being used in associative memory construction and part of the reason we are capable of generating new thoughts. But part of that power comes with the power of emotions. And computers cannot develop that kind of complicated neural web to generate emotions naturally, organically. We could try to fake it.
We might be able to simulate that.
We can fake it.
We might be able to simulate something
We
like
can
that.
probably
The way
fake
that
it.
I'm thinking about that is if you sort of integrate... this is totally science fiction, guys. Don't listen to me. But What if you integrate, like, you know how there's like LiDAR and different sensors, like temperature sensors and stuff like that? We have many different senses as humans that we use to like perceive our environment. And what if we like linked that to like how we interpret like thoughts, not just like the raw data of like, okay, it's 72 degrees outside. Like, what if we then link the 72 degrees to, oh, it's hot, you know? And that's given like a specific weight, and then that becomes sort of like a thing. I hope this is. I'm a little high, guys.
A little.
The time for our commercial break.
Yes.
I think
It's
that'd
an
be
interesting thought. I don't know. My mind went on a tangent there.
that is a very Warhammer 40k kind of thought process.
I'd be everywhere, dude.
Are you familiar with Warhammer?
I'm not.
Okay. Warhammer is, in its own words, set in the grim, dark future.
Ooh, dystopian? I believe was the word.
Like, to the extreme. The basic foundational shit about it is humanity has gone way off into the future and survived so long that they've actually reached the edge of space. And at the edge of space, things get real fucking weird. There is the God Emperor of mankind, who is both dead and alive. He's this oversized skeleton on a golden throne that is part technological marvel and part psychic voodoo bullshit.
Word.
Because he was not only the most powerful, but a ridiculously powerful psychic. And with his psychic powers, he was able to protect enough of humanity that they could survive against other weirder alien races that are constantly at war with them. And in their present day, in the Warhammer universe, there is this never-ending, constant, universal war going on between them and several other alien races with strange origins and even stranger powers.
Yeah.
Humans have the ability to tap into what's called the warp, which is a sort of between dimension space, and they pull some pretty strange and dangerous powers out. And pretty much anyone who can use those kind of powers are at most risk to themselves. Just pulling a little bit too much can cause your head to explode. And they're like the most important people around, because without them,
Fascinating verse.
without them, they lose a very important power against all the aliens who have basically the same thing on steroids.
Why is it humans that need to? Why is it always humans that need to be like saved or?
Because we're vain. We are both
We do
hero
write the
and
stories.
damsel in distress
We
at
do
all
write
times.
stories,
You are
yes.
the problem.
It was me the whole time. Why would I do this? So they fight, like, the most common enemies we run into are Xenos, orcs, and demons. Xenos are aliens. They have no particular language. They don't even seem to think. They're kind of a hive mind. And they just naturally have sort of interdimensional powers and can create
so reminds me of
spaceships.
Animorphs. I don't know if any of you guys know that series, but you'll know what I'm referencing.
I used to read the books.
Basically, they're just big bugs with magic portal powers, and they fuck up everything that's alive. And they love humans. They think we're delicious.
Oh, but
Orcs are even weirder than that. So, like, they're not even animals. They're like humanoid things. They're like people. Pretty much by default are all extremely muscular and extremely brusque, very aggressive sort of species of things.
Are we not thinking of like a regular, like fantastical, like?
Oh yeah, 100% based on those.
Yeah.
Just
Gotcha.
for the benefit of people who might not be in the sphere. It's
If you're listening to this,
orcs are big green man-like things. They are always pretty much green. And in this
some of them are
particular,
pig-like.
yeah, some of them.
some of them are pig-like. It's kind of weird. Don't know why. But in this particular story, they are big green, gross-looking people like Shrek, but with bigger teeth and
Right.
more muscular. And they do have a superpower of their own. If you get enough of them together and get them to believe in something well enough, they make it real.
Manifestation.
They invent God
It's
all the
theme
time.
today.
Yes, it is actually.
It's led to some hilarious memes. My favorite ones because in the canonical lore, it's not literally anything, but some of their spaceships are running on crayons. So, it is pretty ridiculous.
Warhammer sounds like an interesting series. Is it a comic or just a book?
It is everything.
Oh. Oh, it's
like
big,
I
it's
can
big.
watch it.
It's big.
Type of thing.
It is an old, what do you call it? It's an old lore project that's been around for a long time. It's got comics, it's got books. I'm not sure if there's a TV show. There are lots of games.
I'm sure there's some fan
Some
animation.
tabletops. I'm sure there's lots of fan-made videos. It's been getting more popular recently, and I'm not really big into it, but I think it's kind of hilarious.
Do you still play D&D?
Sometimes. It's been a while.
Yeah.
I just can't bring myself to DM another game. We keep canceling them.
Yeah. I think I only did like the 1 or 2 games with you guys.
My last idea was like a Monster of the Week type of thing going on, but I never got around to it. I'm too lazy to get to it now.
I was gonna say that sounds interesting. I don't know. I'd probably be more locked in. Mind you, we were, what was it? We used to do it for. I had it going. I had it going at least for a good little while, at least with you and the rest of your friends over there. But
Okay, I wasn't using it.
it was. Yeah, no. If you had something a bit more going on for me besides the I guess.
Oh.
sorry.
No, you're good.
Just destroying everything over here. Wild beast. I just got into the surface yet. So there's also the demons. The demons are special. So the orcs are just.
Wait. Before we continue with this, we should probably end the podcast here. We're like maybe 2.5 hours in.
Shit.
1.5 hours in.
Okay.
I'm just getting started.
It's just what.
It's gonna be a long night, and I definitely want to like break down some more topics with you because I feel like there's quite a few things.
I feel like tonight's been the table of contents.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, and I've just been sitting here reading. Like, literally sitting here reading. So, if y'all, I don't know, if anybody, any, like, whatever small percentage of y'all out there or wondering about that, it's just, hey, I'm just chilling. This is usually how these two talk.
Literally, it's been years and we're still like this.
Yeah.
We're still like this.
If we're not talking about the paranoid government conspiracy theories, are we even really living?
Honestly, at least, hey, at least I'm learning more than I would.
An existential conversation about theories of life. And
I just want to tweak in the privacy of the home of my own friends.
I just want to tweak with my friends. I feel like we're gonna end this here. This has been what is this, episode 12 of Culture Nexus.
Yeah.
You guys have a
wait,
good night.
I haven't told them about the quantum making emotions real in computers.
Whoa. All right. I'm Quasi.
Josh.
If the qubits can have 8 different positions, we can use them to make more complicated networks. The computers can have emotions. We just need the quantum computers to be made.
Yeah, like, comment, subscribe.
I've been Chris, by the way. Thank you for maybe watching if you were here or not.
We love you.
Yeah.
And Nina also said
Yeah.
There it goes.
Deuces.